Bracer Guild. Hallo Einer. Von dir habe ich auch schon was gehört. Hey Tua, good morning Stan, good morning Joshua. Morning Einer, good morning. Is Schera here already? Yes, she's waiting for you upstairs. Once you finish today's training, you'll finally be recognized as members of the Bracer Guild. Good luck to the both of you. Thanks. We'll do our best. Once you finish today's training, you'll finally be recognized as members of the Bracer Guild. Scherazard waiting for you upstairs. Good luck to the both of you. The Star and the Hanged Man, the Hermit and the Magician, last of all inversion through the Wheel of Fortune. This is a difficult combination. How should I interpret this? Good morning, Schera. Well, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua. This is a rare occasion for both of you to show up so early. Since it's my last day of training, I figured, why not? I'm ready to get this show on the road and become a bracer myself. I'll give you credit for your enthusiasm, but I'm going to work you hard today in every way I can think of to make sure that high-spirited attitudes of yours hold up. I hope you're ready. I can feel that enthusiasm dropping already. Quiet you. Every time I teach you something, you somehow manage to forget it. But training is my way of trying to keep some of that information in your head instead of letting it dribble out of your ears like it usually does. Ah, Joshua, Schera's picking on me. Don't worry, Schera. While Estelle may hate studying and rarely ever does her homework, Ashley is overly naive and has a tendency to stick her nose into everything. Her instincts are sharp, so I'm sure she'll pick up on how to use an opening with some practice. Eventually. Probably. I guess that's not much I can do now except hope for the best. Hold on a sec, Joshua. Somehow, I get the feeling that you weren't standing up for me. Well, that's odd. I'm positive I've described all your best traits accurately. Whatever. By the way, Schera, what were you trying to predict with your tarot cards? Your face was really intent. What's this? I was just trying to get a vague reading about what might happen in the near future. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have been in the right mindset to interpret the card correctly. You couldn't read the cards. Now that's surprising to hear. Actually, the more profound the meaning of the card, the more difficult they become to interpret. But that's not important now. I think it's time we start your final training. I'll give you a brief rundown of all the information we've covered in your previous training. This is the minimal level of knowledge that bracers should have in order to function effectively. And, Estelle, make sure you pay especially close attention to what I'm going to say. Yeah. What would you like to know about? Orbments are mechanical devices which operate by using what is known as orbal energy. A variety of effects can be produced depending on the structure and the type of quartz or processed septium installed. Although it's only been about 50 years since the invention, these devices play an integral role in all facets of life, from lights, heaters, and other everyday products to weapons, magic, and even airship. In connection, this technology reform is commonly known as the Orbital Revolution. Ja, soweit, das kennen wir auch schon. About bracers. Bracers are investigative and combat specialists who work to protect civilians and maintain the stability of their respective regions. They aid the community in various ways, such as exterminating monsters, preventing crime, finding lost items, and escorting people and goods. The Bracer Guild, which has established branches across the continent, manages the affairs of the bracers in each region. The Kingdom of Liberia, in which we live, sits on the western half of the Sumerian continent and abounds with nature and deep-rooted traditions. Liberia is proud to be one of the leading producers of septium on the continent and is known for its high level of technology used to develop orbments. Orbment technology has also been a key pillar of support for Liberia in protecting its independence, as it has contended with neighboring nations, with Anawaten, Albonia. 10 years ago, when Liberia was invaded by the Bonian Empire, it was the use of orbit-powered airships that saved the kingdom from defeat. Consequently, even now our relationship with the Empire is somewhat sensitive, but thanks to the Queen's political finesse, the world enjoys peace. Let's see, since we've got a mountain of stuff to do today, I'll let you off the hook this time with a condensed review. I'm going to speed things up now and move on to the practical portion of your training. Schera, how's today's practical training any different from the training we've done before? Since it's practical, that means you will be experiencing things firsthand. Therefore, I'm going to have the both of you run through everything as if this were a real bracer job. So what you're saying is, there won't be any studying at a desk involved? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. This time you'll have to go out and make a physical effort to accomplish your task. I'll make sure to have you work up a sweat, so I hope you're ready. Yes, but seriously, just what the doctor ordered. I didn't know what I was going to do if I had to sit another day with my tush parked at the desk. I guess I got all worried for nothing. Well, suddenly all bright and cheerful, Estelle. Joshua, ich war schon immer bright. Let's just hope that smile on your face lasts until the end of today's training. Okay, let's get cracking on the first objective, shall we? Let's have at it. Your first objective will be to confirm the details of a job you will be performing. But before that, there's something that we need to give the both of you. Aina, are they ready? Yes, they are. Alright, you two. Go get one for each of yourself. These are very important, so make sure not to lose them. Brace a notebook. Brace a notebook serves as the official way to record the status of your current job. Also, anything you may hear or anything that you may find and wear, these kinds of trivia things can often become clues. No matter how insignificant something may seem, always write it down. Understood? Perhaps it sounds like it's going to be a pain. Oh, please tell me it was my ears playing tricks on me, because I swear I only got one response. I'm sure there were two. Keeping an accurate account of events is an important duty for all bracers, so get with the program and stop trying to make this out to be more than it really is, Estelle. Okay, I got it. Make sure you do. Alright then, let's begin. Look over by the door. You can see that there's a bulletin board standing there. First, I want you to go and check the job description posted there. When the bulletin board is approached, a exclamation point mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display the job list. By selecting the job names on the list, you can view the details. Hier ist das. Okay, auf Dreieck bei mir. Da haben wir Achievements, Magic. Das war Achievements, okay. Ne, Mr. Bright, Joshua Bright, Roland Branch, Rank, das ist alles noch nicht. Oh Gott, das sind die ganzen Tutorial-Dinger. Ja, das werde ich jetzt mal nicht durchlesen. Weil das würde ich jetzt behaupten, ist in etwa dasselbe wie in dem Code Guild, wobei das ist neu. Rot ist die Bracer Guild, okay. Hotel und Bars sind türkis, Orbital Factories sind orange, die Kirche ist lila und ansonsten Geschäfte sind, kann ich da nicht hier auch irgendwie das da wechseln? So. Aber da ist absolut noch nichts. Okay. Training Retrieval. New. Ab jetzt ist es übrigens blind. Training Retrieval. Client Scherazard. Pay 500 Mirror. Direct request. This training will involve searching the sewers beneath Roland and bringing back the contents of a chest. See Scherazard for details. Details of the job are confirmed on the bulletin board. Wo ist meine Maus? Da. The bulletin board and other important events will be automatically recorded in the Bracer notebook. The Bracer notebook can be easily found by clicking on the Books tab of the item menu. It can also be accessed by figuring a Bracer book shortcut button on the configuration menu. Very good. Looks like you were able to see what was posted without any trouble. Checking the bulletin board is one of the most basic functions the Bracer performs on the job. Checking regularly to see whether or not there are any urgent tasks which need immediate attention is also an important duty for Bracers. Man, all this talk about duty is starting to cramp my style. Sure, there are a lot of rules to follow, but there's an equal level of responsibility in the job themselves. I think being Bracer calls for much more than just someone with a half-hearted attitude. I guess you're right. I just have to be more motivated. Heath? Ich glaube, das soll einfach Isvet so heißen. Had a change of heart, have you? You betcha. Well, before all that motivation sneaks off somewhere, let's get to work on your next task. What will we be doing this time? We'll be heading across the street to Mr. Melder's Orbal factory and learning about how to use its services. He has graciously taken time out of his work schedule to explain things, so make sure to be on your best behavior. Okay. Here's where you will learn how to use an Orbal factory's services. At an Orbal factory you can modify your augments and synthesize support quartz in order to use Orbal arts. Arts have a wide range of effects and if mastered can be extremely helpful. The Bracer business is a pretty risky occupation, so the guild has had a long-standing relationship with these Orbal factories. Anyway, this is about as much as I can explain. I'll leave the technical details to the expert. So, Mr. Melders, if you wouldn't mind taking over from here? No problem, leave everything to me. So, what is it that you would like to know about? Eigentlich nichts davon, weil ich das wahrscheinlich alles weiß, aber hey. Augments are mechanical devices which exhibit an array of effects through the installation of various types of quartz. By definition, that means that lights, airship engines, and so on are also types of augments. However, the ones we will be discussing today are battle augments, which enhance the user's physical abilities and make it possible to use magic. Since each augment is adjusted to match her owner's personal aptitude, the structures of these devices also differ for each owner. Simply put, the shape of a fixed elemental slot and lines which connect them vary. At any rate, that's the layman's explanation. In order to install quartz, you must first have an open slot. By default, the central slot is open, but the other slot must be opened at an Orbal factory like this. It will take a fair amount of separate too. EP, which is needed for magic, will also see a max increase according to the number of open slots. I recommend opening them all as soon as possible. So what is it that you would like to know about? Simply put, Orbal arts are magic which can be discharged exclusively through the use of battle augments. In other words, a number of peculiar effects can be produced by using the Orbal energy stored within these mechanical devices. Since Orbal arts can be a mouthful, they are almost universally referred to as arts. Probably ought to have been called that from the get-go. There are several types of art, but in order to be able to use them, the corresponding quartz must first be synthesized at an Orbal factory. Augments are also set up so that once a particular quartz is installed into a slot, the owner will be able to use those arts. The type of arts one can use also changes depending on the elemental value and the combination of installed quartz. Basically, if you want to use water art, all you have to do is install quartz with a water elemental value. In reality, augments are much more complex than what I have described, but I think this information should suffice for now. So, what is it that you would like to know about? Quartz are circuits made from sapphire. Quartz has a vast number of effects that raise the owner's abilities while simultaneously making it possible for them to use arts. However, you will not be able to harness any of these effects until quartz has been installed into a slot. However, there are also fixed slots in which only a certain type of elemental quartz can be installed. This being the case, when you synthesize a new quartz, be sure to check your orbment and decide where you will be installing it ahead of time. So what is it? Sepit are fragments of septium which are dropped by monsters. They are divided into 7 types: earth, brown, water, blue, fire, red, wind, green, time black, space gold, and mirage. Oder mirage. Na, eher mirage. Silver. Sepit can be exchanged for mirror almost anywhere, but at the Orbital Factory it can be used to synthesize quartz and to open slots in which to install the synthesized quartz. So, what is it? Das war alles. Looks like Mr. Meredith has answered all your questions. If there's nothing else, then let's have you both try and use the services here. For that you're going to need some Sepit. You see several of each type of elemental Sepit. With that amount, you two should be able to synthesize a few quartz. Now I want you to begin by first making elemental quartz that will work with each of your particular orbments. In your case, Estelle, any elemental quartz is okay, but for Joshua, it has to be a time elemental quartz. Normally at the shop you would be able to exchange Sepit from here, but for this training you will not be able to use this service. Upon approaching the counter, a talk mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display a list of options. Select Modify or Trade to use the Orbital Factory services. Oh, good work so far. If you need to use the Orbital Factory, give Freddy a holler over here. Okay. Modify Trade. Slot, nee, nicht Slot, aber Quartz. So, für Estelle ist alles egal. Deswegen mache ich mal das. Und für Joshua das. Wobei ich, ganz ehrlich, kann eigentlich alle machen einmal, oder? Okay, das war das. Da. Das muss ich mir noch merken. Augment. Sie kriegt mal HP. Und Joshua kriegt Action. Oh, so you finished installing your quartz, have you? Then you have both recovery and attack art set up. Please that you don't need any more instruction from me about how to do this task. If you balance your arts out between each other like you've done here, it should make dealing with monsters much easier. Additionally, your Bracer notebook contains information about which quartz allow you to use which arts. If you'd like to use more powerful art, check out the arts and quartz charts in the Bracer notebooks and find something that works for you. Alright, our training here is almost finished. Last of all, I'm going to have one of you open a new slot in your orbment. The more slots you have available to you, the broader range of choices you'll have. Since EP, which is consumed by using arts, can have its max value increased by opening up slots, it would be a good idea to open them all early on. Now I want you to use the Sepit and open a slot on each of your orbments. Go ahead and decide which slot you're going to open. Ja. Ich kann theoretisch das und ich kann das öffnen. Ich denke, ich nehme mal den. Bei ihr kann ich auch nicht, ne? Ne, ich konnte nur bei einem, okay. Good work on opening a slot, Joshua. Since your central slot is limited to a certain elemental, it would be best to increase your openment's number of open slots early on. Moment. This concludes your training here at the Orbital Factory. Now it's time to move on to what you've both been waiting for, the qualification test. Pardon? Did you just say test? You can't honestly tell me that you forgot about the test. Again, can you? Did I remind you just this morning? Now that you mention it, I vaguely remember some sort of talk about those lines at the breakfast table. Sometimes I fear for the future of the Bracer Guild and humanity. Oh well, no sense in worrying about that now. Let's head over to the testing area. You mean like now? I don't know if I'm ready for... How about a little less yapping and a little more walking? Joshua, help me! Mr. Felder, Freddy, thank you for your help. Not mention it, and good luck with that test of yours. We'll be rooting for you. I'm going to remember that you left me high and dry like a Joshua. Is that evident? Well, your training has finally come down to this. Your qualification test will begin here. I expect to see you both use what you've learned up to this point. Understood? What's wrong, Estelle? Schera? What now? I was kind of wondering, but is there not going to be a paper test or something? Did Cassius drop you on your head as a child or something? You just read what it said on the bulletin board not that long ago, right? Yeah, and I even made you jot down what you read in your Bracer notebooks, unless you forget that too. Pretty sure the job listing mentioned searching for and retrieving an item from the sewers. Ringing any bells yet? What a relief. Oh, divine Aeneas, I give thanks to thee for thy infinite grace, in bestowing upon us such wonderful gifts as sewers. So what you're really saying is that you thought it was a paper test? No wonder we were acting all crazy back at the Orbital Factory. I can already feel the nostalgia. All of those horrible days stuck in a classroom are starting to feel like grand memories indeed. I'm really starting to wonder if we'll even be able to graduate at all. What's wrong with you? Why do you have to go and say something like that when I'm trying to reminisce about positive things? Alright, that's enough jabbering, you two. This is supposed to be a test, so how about the both of you try to at least look a little anxious? Just so you know though, if you do happen to flunk the test, you don't even want to imagine the kind of homework I have in store for both of you. Haha, we'll be fine. Just tell us what you want us to do and let us loose. Well, if you're so confident, then how about proving that you're not just blowing hot air with the results of your test? Anyway, as you both saw on the bulletin board, this test will be a search conducted in rodent sewers. Your objective is to retrieve the contents of a chest which has been placed somewhere within that area. The layout of the sewers is pretty simple, so you don't need to worry about getting lost either. However, there are real living, breathing monsters down there, so if you get careless and let down your guard, you will be sorry. Also, let me give you this before I forget. Tierbaum, Monster Guide. What's this book for? It's called a Monster Guide, and it's used to record information about monsters and other opponents you meet. Whenever you figure out an enemy's attribute, you should make an immediate note of it in there. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. He who controls the flow of information controls the tide of battle, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. You've really got a good head on your shoulders, Joshua. That's some pretty useful advice. Thanks for the tip, Schera. We'll put it to good use. Alrighty then, let's get pumped and knock out this test. Don't forget though, this is an exam. We should make sure we tweeted that shot.